Folks, welcome in to a brand new episode of the Crowd Assist podcast presented by Trainwreck Sports. Of course, you all know what today is, why we're here, why this brand new episode is airing right now, because it is AFC Championship Day, Conference Championship Day. Great day. Got a great lineup of guests here for this show. But first, do have to remind you guys, we are sponsored by Picasso's Pizza. I almost got it in time here for the It's okay. It's all right. It won't be here in time, but you know what? It's fine. You guys still have time to get them in for your game day celebrations, whether it's during the game, before the game, tailgate, drunk post-game celebrations, whatever you need, Picasso's have you covered. Open for takeout and delivery. So please support local businesses because now's the time to do so. Support our good friends over at Picasso's. Kevin Masseri here as always. And Kevin, why don't you tell them who we have with us?
Yeah, so we have a great lineup started by free agent Jason Shannon, guy who's done many shows in the past. Looking to get picked up soon, so we're excited to see what Jason's got going on in the future and get his nuggets, and haven't had him on this show yet this season. So we're getting excited about that, but we have an action-packed lineup. We have breaking rap songs from Don Brown to display here today. We have a really good podcast lineup that I think everyone should be excited about, capped off by Maniac in KC, bringing us what's going on there, weather-related, table smash beers, everything going on there in KC, live on Boots on the Ground, walking into the stadium to cap off the show today. Jason, how you doing today?
Every day is beautiful when you're in Buffalo and we're going to the AFC Championship game. Every single day that has happened has been a great day. So it's been a while. I was a 5-year-old the last time this happened, and when I was a 5-year-old, we went to the Super Bowl as well. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a great day for everybody. I've been watching NFL Network this morning with the wife and child, and I saw Andre, I saw Jim, I saw a whole segment on Michael Irvin yelling and then laughing a lot about it. So we saw an entire segment there. Buffalo is getting a ton of love right now. We saw a parade. Why don't you talk to us about the parade? What is that? What is going on there from that filmed footage we have breaking from you?
Yeah, I sent you a video that you have conveniently on your Twitter right now. I was just going and getting my morning Tim Hortons, and when I was coming back between Hurdle and Elmwood, I got blocked off by about 4 police cars, and I was like, what's going on? And then it turns out that there was a Bills parade, including the mascot, including the Venga Boys song, the Six Flags song. There were
show? Was it official? Well, what? It had a
I have no idea. I don't know why they were turning off that street, because it was like in the middle of nowhere, but there were about 8 cars with Bills flags. There was a mascot. There was a Bills logo. And I'm just like, this is Buffalo. I'm on my way home from coffee. This is just what we do in Buffalo. We just have parades.
Yeah, and let's I guess jump into it. The reason we're having a parade for the AFC Championship game here later today. What are your special keys to this game? What do you see shaking out? What are you going to do to slow down Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and whoever they're going to have at running back, whether it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire or, I think Le'Veon Bell's out. We don't really know. What's your vision? And what do you think this Bills defense needs to do to at least make stops and at least do whatever it can to get off the field?
I think Milano's got to be everywhere tonight. There's just no way around it. I've said I think he's the most important person on our defense. Might be, but I think more than the safeties, more than anything, I think just having a coverage linebacker is really important. I don't even think we will stop him. I think maybe to a certain level, but Patrick Mahomes is throwing for 250, 300 yards. There's just no way around it. And I think getting pressure on him will be good. This new turf toe thing is interesting. I'm not sure.
That's the word, I think, is interesting, if there's ever a word to call it.
He wasn't going to run for 80 yards on us, but him getting outside of the pocket is now going to be a lot tougher for him. Turf toe is not a thing that you just get over. As much as it's like a wimpy sounding injury, it stinks.
It's surgery. They're talking about surgery for him.
He's going to need off-season surgery. There's no way around it. I'm not a doctor, but that that's just it's not a good injury to have. It's not a good injury to just have pop up, this week. So I think that's going to be a lot. And obviously, like the front four getting pressure is always important. And if they do that, we'll see. We don't know if we're going to get Vernon Butler. I'm not sure that matters like a ton. But Jerry Hughes, at Oliver,
Harrison Phillips even has been spectacular coming down the stretch of this year.
Guy works hard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's those guys are going to get in that. And even if we get anything out of the Addison, Trent Murphy sort of combo, that's going to be really important for this game, because obviously we're going to have to drop guys into coverage. Like there's no
same game plan almost.
The thing about this, even defense and offense, we got to just go and do what we did all year. Unfortunately, like as hard as it is to go against Kansas City, that's how we're going to have to win the game, is doing what we do all year. Mm-hmm. And whether it's offensively, I don't want to change anything about 11 personnel or whatever. I don't want to change anything about the defense. They have to go and execute. You got to cause turnovers, and they got to go and get pressure the hard way. And I don't think there's going to be anything like spectacular about what the coaches do to get us a win. We just got to be the best version of ourselves.
Now, do you hold anything about, who we played in week 6? So you're missing Milano. John Brown is banged up. Trey White actually was coming off of an injury. You had Josh Norman on IR. You had a plethora of injuries at the positions that we needed. Plus, on top of it, the weird COVID change from the Titans outbreak that they didn't get in trouble for. What was your opinion on, did those players matter? Is the whole we had game plans thing relevant? What's kind of your thought on all of that information and the fact that you're not just missing Milano, you're missing some of your other players that are banged up and not eligible to go. So what are your thoughts on the week 6 game? As you've already alluded to it with Milano and others, but Trent Murphy was inactive, Harrison Phillips was inactive. We had Dawson Knox inactive. We had the weird Quentin Spain cut and Brian Winter start and Noah Butker. What's all that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, Milano, obviously, I just said it. I think he matters a lot to the defense. Obviously, there's just an Edmonds-Klein linebacker core just isn't as good as Edmonds, Milano-Klein defense, I feel like that was, I don't know that we win that game if it was in week 10 or whatever, but I do think that was probably the worst possible time we could have played that team. I think there were a lot of circumstances that did not make that a favorable game. And it turns out that we were close. I mean, that was a close game. That wasn't the Tennessee game. The Tennessee game, we got our butts kicked. Kansas City, we were within a touchdown in a game that we had no business being even close. Obviously Josh didn't play his best game. And look, if they do that again, we're going to lose. But
that's fair.
But Josh goes and puts out one of his best 4 games of the season. That's a win. It's.
How do you feel about the question on the screen right now? Do you think Mckenzie's a speed mismatch? Do you think he's someone usable based on this Gabriel Davis injury? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if we used him. I mean, we really have kept him in the pocket for the whole playoffs. Maybe they were saving him. I don't know if they were thinking that far ahead, because obviously you have to go and win every game to go ahead in the playoffs. But I mean, I think this is going to be the game where we're going to see some interplay. I think we really didn't do anything crazy in the last 2 games. If there's a game that we're going to see Isaiah McKenzie throwing a pass to Josh Allen, or the reverses, or we're going to set up that reverse all game or whatever, this is the game. Like Dable's not, his pockets are going to be empty at the end of the game. I promise that. Anything could happen, but like he's not leaving plays for the Packers. He's going to try to do this, and I think Isaiah McKenzie is a big part. He's the biggest little X factor thing that we have right now. And he had a really good season. I mean, he was no better than our 5th receiver, but when he got into the game, he showed why we kept him on the team, and why it wasn't Duke Williams, or it wasn't Jake Kumaro, or it wasn't whoever, etc. Like he showed it.
Yeah.
Now,
he's a
do you
true
have
Swiss
any?
Army knife. So sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
No, sorry. No, you can finish up.
No, yeah, he's a true Swiss Army knife. Like, he can do genuinely anything you ask him to do. Like, when Cole Beasley was hurt, we saw him running routes in the slot and, not being as efficient with that, but, being a replacement level receiver almost anywhere on the field that you put him. Maybe not on the outside where you need a bigger guy to make those catches, but he is 5'9", closer to my height. Short kings are going to rule the world here today. But I do have a good feeling about Isaiah Mckenzie. Kevin, what were you going to say?
Yeah, what I was going to ask is, you brought up a good point about Dable, maybe not holding anything back. Now that he's pretty much off the circuit of coaching staffs, really, it's now the Ken Dorsey show being talked about in Seattle. Didn't know they had an offensive coordinator opening right now. Do you think that frees up Dable to stop worrying about these interviews and getting shafted by his former high school buddy out in LA? Do you think that we might see a better Brian Dable than potentially in the first 2 games, just because it's a lot to think about, of a huge job interview, a huge game? Like, does that matter or shouldn't it?
I don't think it does.
Okay.
I mean, but he was doing interviews on, Monday or whatever. He's got the rest of the week. I mean, obviously it's a lot to think about, and it's a big part of, his life and his family's life and et cetera. But I think his focus has been on the Bills. I have no idea what happened in LA, because I would have bet everything I had that he was going to get that Chargers job with his buddy,
right?
As the GM. That seems crazy. Like, Kevin, if I was a GM and you were one of the best 3 candidates, I'd probably hire you. Like,
is it because they won?
Yeah.
Is it because they won? Is it because they were like, we're going to miss the offensive coordinators, we're going to miss quarterback coaches?
I do think that's a thing, and I think that's been hurting Eric Bieniemy for a while now, is that they keep playing so deep in the playoffs. And that guy absolutely just needs a job. Like, you can't even tell me that Andy Reid's the play caller, and then what's his name just got hired, the Colts offense coordinator, like, under Frank Reich. Like,
Sirianni or something.
Sirianni.
I can't remember.
And it's just like, I think that teams don't want to be the last one to hire a coach. Like, I think it's really competitive, and I don't think they want to wait till after the Super Bowl. And we can see it because we have 1 opening left. Like, I think Houston's it, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And Leslie Frazier is very much involved in that.
He's very much, and maybe they're being patient and they're going to take Leslie Frazier. But these teams want to be the first people to hire him, so they can go to their fans and say, we got the guy we wanted. We went and got Urban Meyer. We went and got, et cetera, Dan Campbell for some reason. But, I think that they don't like playing the waiting game very much. So I think the further we go into the playoffs, the more that's helped us, because maybe that was the difference between Dable going and staying.
That's absolutely correct. We do need to get your game prediction. Like, that's huge for the show. We need to know what you're thinking. Wrap it all up for us. What do you have going on and why?
31-25 Bills. The 25 is just like the Chiefs are going for 2 at some point. Like, it's going to be a pretty standard game. I actually think the Bills will be up by 2 touchdowns, and it's going to be a comeback touchdown to make us all a little squeamish at the end of the game, because the game's not going to be over till it's over. I'm going to be in the corner throwing up, like, just waiting for a
touchdown lead, huh? Early or middle of the game? When do you have that? I
think we're going to take an early lead, and then they're going to creep back and keep going and whatever. But, like, at the same time, whether I believe it or not, like, I got to pick the Bills. So,
yep. So you got the cover, you got the over, you got the lead at some point. Last question, are you team deferral? Do you kick it to Patrick Mahomes to start the game?
Great question.
You kick it to Patrick
I know
Mahomes?
And that's the right answer too.
I think I'm fine with it. I don't hate it as much as you do. I don't think it matters that much. I honestly, though, like, getting the ball in the second half is kind of a nice bonus.
Okay.
I know going down 7-0 stinks, but you got a good 15-minute break, and then you come out and, like, oh, we're getting the ball. Cool. Get to build on this momentum. I like this, and we've been slow starters anyway. So
why don't you plug where we can find your stuff and what you got going on your social?
Oh yeah, just add Jason on Twitter. Follow me. That's just about it. I'm a free agent. If anybody wants to pay me to do a podcast, cool. If not, like, I'll keep coming on this one. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, and we have one last comment. 5T-Man says Jason has a close prediction. Little muddy, possibly, from 5T-Man. So
wins are wins. We don't get bonus points this late in the season. I'm trying to play in February. 15 T-Man. Let's go.
Maybe it is 15 T-Man. 15 T-Man. Why don't you comment what that means?
Put a face to your username, can you? I don't like that you just have the little grayed out guy there. I don't know.
Yeah. 15 I'm just interesting. 15 touchdowns, man. I don't.
Bills are scoring 15 touchdowns. You heard it here first. 102 to whatever the Chiefs score.
Jason, we really appreciate you coming on. We're definitely gonna get you on the show again. I like your setup over there in your jersey. You look good to go. So we will be having you on shortly. Thank you for your prediction. And if not, go out and watch that video Jason shot. It's on Twitter right now. Trainwreck will retweet that shortly. Look at that video. It's kind of funny, and it's hysterical that it has a police escort. Jason, thanks for filming that, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Yep.
And coming in next, of course, we've had him on before, Kurt Haumesser. Kurt, it's been a few weeks. Really appreciate you being back here. Got the AirPods in. You got the nice AirPod going. You look like you're rocking and ready to go.
I am ready, guys. I'm not home right now, so I don't have my professional mic. But it's okay. I got my AirPods here. I'm ready to go. Counting down the minutes, pretty much. I think everybody's been counting down the minutes to 6:40 for a week now. So I'm very, very excited. Very glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah, no, you probably have a bunch of stuff going on in your shows and your world. So we appreciate you making some time for this action-packed lineup. We have some great stuff coming up. Kurt, what's your initial feelings? Like, how are you feeling today? 1:35 officially. What's going through your mind? Where are you at headspace-wise? Why don't you give us a little bit of that?
Guys, this is uncharted territory, for Bills fans. It's, many of us, my parents, the older generation, they know the 90s. They lived through it. Us younger guys, this is new for us. So it's fun, but I am confident. I really am. Honestly, last week against Baltimore, I was a little nervous, but this week it seems like, I'm not saying by any means I'm okay with a loss. The Bills are going to win. They need to win. Go to the Super Bowl. Bring me to Tampa. But it seems like this team's kind of got the monkey off their back. It's you won the division. You finally won a playoff game. Hey, you won another playoff game. That's awesome. They got the confidence now. It's not like looking over their shoulder thinking about the narrative if they lose. They're confident. They're feeling better than probably any team right now. The Chiefs are they've been nervous all week with Patrick Mahomes. They just barely made it past the Browns. They've had their run. The Bills are red hot. They're feeling good this week. I really, really do feel confident in this Bills team. They're playing better than anybody in the league right now. I think we're going to be seeing the Bills in Tampa Bay next week.
And you sound really confident. What's the reason for that? Like, what do you think is one of the Bills' biggest advantages coming into this game today? Maybe not Mahomes' turf toe, because I have banged up Bills to talk about that in a little bit.
Right. I think that, it really comes down to the offense that we saw to finish out the year. The offense that we saw from the Bills in the Indianapolis game wasn't great. Wins are wins in the playoffs. You get there, that's great. Move on to the next round. Against Baltimore, same thing. But you know what? The Bills aren't going to face a defense like the Indianapolis Colts or the Baltimore Ravens. Those are two of the top defenses in the entire NFL. You go into this week against Kansas City, they're a good team. They're defending Super Bowl champions. They're not perfect. Their defense is not perfect. They get pressure, but the Bills' offensive line can protect that pressure. So I really think this could be the week that the Bills' offense finally comes back to form. I really think that this is the week that we see them kind of how they should play. We saw them take a few steps back, but we've seen them at their highest high. And I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. You're not going to totally stop Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, but you can contain them. And the Bills are a team that definitely can contain that offense. I think the Bills, little sneak peek here, I think the Bills still have 38 points on the Chiefs. I really do. I think they can take advantage of that secondary. The Chiefs are getting a few pieces back in the secondary, but their linebacking core is pretty weak. I think, having Dawson Knox back this game, remember he did not play when they faced each other in week 6. That's a big addition because he's kind of been stepping up a little bit. We saw him with a few key drops earlier in the year, but I think he's kind of getting the momentum going forward here. I think Josh Allen, we've seen him. Not many teams can stop him, knock on wood. I think the Bills could put up some serious points on the Chiefs.
Yeah, those are good nuggets. And I think the question, obviously, you mentioned the cornerbacks of KC. We don't know who will play. We know Breland was cleared from the concussion protocol. We don't know elsewhere if they're going to suit up their other cornerback who is on the injury report as well. So that could be a huge deal. They're out, Gay, they're back up linebacker. You mentioned a weak linebacking core. They don't have much room for margin. I talk about this with crossover shows all the time. Yes, an injury like Gay might not affect you at face value, but if you have a short-term injury at linebacker, you don't have anyone behind your linebackers at this point. So that's something to pay attention to. Dirty Dan Sorensen, everybody. He will be active in this game.
Unfortunately.
What is your thoughts on
calling him Dirty Dan? There's an
What's your thoughts on the safety play there with Tyrann Mathieu and Dirty Dan? What are you thinking about that?
I mean, Tyrann Mathieu has been playing, the way he's been playing his entire career. He really has not taken a step back. This guy he's the quarterback of that defense pretty much. And, Josh he's got to be careful. He can't be just throwing it around willy-nilly here. He's got to be, picking his spots and hitting those spots. If he's going to miss wide, miss out of bounds. If he's going to miss high, get it out of bounds. You don't want to make mistakes on the secondary because the secondary is solid. Like I said, the linebacking core isn't great, but the front four for the Chiefs is very solid. So you can't really make too many mistakes against the Chiefs. I think this game is going to come down to the turnover battle and which team can get pressure with 4, because you're not going to be able to send the house on Patrick Mahomes. So you need your front 4 to really step up and play their man. So it's going to come down to turnovers. It's going to come down to who can get pressure with their front 4 on defense.
And that's a really good point. Do you see the potential Sammy Watkins revenge game? He seems to play well in the playoffs when he plays. He's out with a calf right now and questionable on the injury report. They did call up a receiver from their practice squad, so we don't know what that means. But also Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the ankle hip and Le'Veon Bell popping up late in the practice report, not playing either. I mean, those aren't their biggest, we all know those aren't their biggest weapons, but do you think at some point you just can't continue to lose, your entire slate of weapons and just think Mecole Hardman's going to be your only weapon you have there. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you expect to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Do you expect to see Sammy Watkins? If you were to just make a prediction there, Le'Veon Bell, I guess you can lump in this whole thing as well. What do you think that we see on that front? Are we going to see a lot of Marcus Kemp, Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson behind Tyreek Hill, a lot of Darrell Williams? I mean, what do you have for us?
That's the thing with this team is the Chiefs are deep. I mean, and Patrick Mahomes could make the 3 of us look like good wide receivers. I mean, he's that good, but I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be a go. I think he'll play. I think he'll be okay. And that's big. I mean, we saw what he did to us in week 6. He ran all over the Bills. So, he's probably not going to be 100%, but he's still going to play, and you need to watch out for him. It doesn't seem like Le'Veon Bell is going to play. Even if he does, we haven't really seen the old Le'Veon Bell of old, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. And Sammy Watkins, he could come back and he'll probably get hurt walking out of the tunnel for the pregame warm-up. He's
shots fired right here.
We've seen Sammy Watkins have the 3 touchdown days, but that's once in a blue moon. I'm not too nervous for Sammy Watkins. I would be more nervous for a guy like Mecole Hardman, maybe even a guy like Byron Pringle. I mean, they're speedsters. They could beat you. They are speedsters, and Sammy Watkins. He's had his times, but he's not making me bite my fingernails. I'm okay with Sammy Watkins. I think they can cover him pretty well.
No, that's fair. And you brought up Pringle, a good point, because he caught a devastating third down pass in week 6, 30 yards down the field. That got him into field goal range, pretty much salted the game away. So watch out for Pringle in this game, especially without a Sammy Watkins. Now, we mentioned all their weapons. Are you confident in the same game plan in week 6? I mean, McDermott will tell you that they did what they needed to do. Didn't expect Clyde Edwards-Helaire to have his best game as a rookie. But do you think that was the right game plan, limiting the way that they did? And they were a Justin Zimmer punch out fumble. Knee was this close away from having the ball in winning position. Do you think that game plan worked? Or are you still nervous that, maybe we need to be a little bit more aggressive than the drop 7 into zones game plan?
I think with this team, right now looking at the Chiefs, what I would like to see is kind of what they did in week 6, just a little bit, sell out on the pass. Do not let Patrick Mahomes beat you with his arm. He can absolutely do it. He'll probably put up some decent numbers on you, but control it, limit it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not 100%. You can, let them say, you run the ball, we'll stop you. I mean, we saw what they did with Baltimore. Maybe I tweeted it out after the game. I think that was probably the best defensive matchup and game plan I've seen since Sean McDermott was hired. It was a masterpiece, and it was beautiful to watch. So I'm confident in this team in this week compared to week 6. I mean, week 6, this team had no preseason, barely any training camp, probably didn't even know the guys across the field from them. They were new. This team has gone through 17 weeks. They've gone through playoffs. They've gone through heartbreak. They've gone through success. This team is different. It is a completely different team, but you still have to be careful because it's Andy Reid, it's Eric Bieniemy. Those two are geniuses, and they outcoached the Bills in week 6. So Sean McDermott's got to be smart, sell out on the pass. You're not going to stop Patrick Mahomes completely. You're not going to stop Travis Kelce completely, but the Bills do seem to have Travis Kelce's number when they play him, and Matt Milano's back this week. So I would say focus on the pass, try to shut it down as best as you can. If the Chiefs can start running the ball down your throat, I don't see that happening, but then you can adjust at halftime. But focus on the pass. Try to shut down the pass and Patrick Mahomes.
And speaking of Chiefs running the ball down the throat, I don't have COVID. The White Claw just went down the wrong hole. I have Bailey's in my coffee, so I'm in rare form right now. Kurt, no, you got to get out of here soon. So, final thoughts on this game. Give us a prediction. How do you see it going down today at 6:40?
38 Bills, 30 Chiefs. I think it will be close. I think it's going to be a one-score game no matter what. You're not going to blow out the Chiefs. I don't think either team is going to get blown out. If for some reason the Bills lose and everything, all that, I think it'll be a close game. I think it will. This team has done so much this year. Bills Mafia, you should be excited for the future. You should be excited for next week if the Bills get there because they have a legit shot at bringing home the Lombardi Trophy. And I cannot wait. I will be in Tampa next week, so I'm hoping the Bills are meeting me there. Wow. I can't wait for this game. I'm excited.
Now, tell everyone where they can find you. Anything going on today, tomorrow, with your work. Let us know all that stuff so people can jump over.
Sure. You guys can find me on Twitter at Kurt, K-U-R-T, Haumesser, Haumesser 88. I got a ton of stuff going on. We got the Bills. It's so excited to watch, so excited to do everything with that. Writing for Buffalo Rumblings, doing my podcast at Laces Out, PTSP for Primetime Sports Talk. Me and my good partner, Jared Bailey, talking about everything in the NFL. So follow us there, follow along. We'll have a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Awesome, Kurt. We'll really appreciate you getting on here. Sure, we'll be talking with you soon. God willing, next week, if we're in the next 2 weeks, if we get to the Super Bowl. I didn't want to say those 2 words because I feel like it might be blasphemy around here. But, worst case Ontario, we'll get you on in the offseason for sure, all right?
Awesome, guys. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks. Go Bills.
Go Bills, man. Go Bills. Always good having fun.
Yeah, it is. And we're excited to load up the CTW pod coming up here shortly. But I think it's time to play Dom Brown's Bills
let's give it the recognition it deserves here.
So we wanted to drop this song during the show. We're in talks with Dom to make it an intro. So we hope you guys like it, and we will load up CTW pod here shortly while you enjoy the tunes by Dom.
Buffalo Bills. It's the Mafia, I'm rocking with the Bills. That is no stopping us. Google best team in the league, and we popping up. Hey. Who you reppin'? What's your team? Who you reppin'? What's your team? You know I'm reppin' for my team. I got the salad on my team. It's the mafia, you know I'm rockin' with the Bills. It's the mafia, you know I'm rockin' with the Bills. It's the mafia, I'm with the Buffalo Bills. It's the mafia, you know I'm rockin' with the Bills. Hey, it's the mafia. I said no one on top of us. I said no one is blocking us on top of our division. So it's clear that it's no stopping us. Google best team in the league, and we poppin' up. Home game for the playoffs, but you already know. Gabe Davis is a rookie, but he playing like a pro. Going through a table, only time we ever fold. Can you dig it? 17, about to take us to the bowl. Hey, don't you run it? Oliver and Trey Edmonds gon' be on it. We got Corey, but we barely ever punt it. Cause we just running up the score on our opponent. We got Beasley, we got Diggs, Singletary, about to juke him out of shoes, make him miss, run it in, Zach, also throw the digs, it's for Sig, Terry Johnson, pick six to the house, take a flick, hey, it's the mafia, you know I'm rockin' with the Bills, hey, it's the mafia, you know I'm rockin' with the Bills, it's the mafia, I'm with the Buffalo Bills, it's the mafia, you know I'm rockin' with the Bills, hey, who you reppin', what's your team, who you reppin', what's your team, you know
I honestly think that the line "we got Corey, but we never punt it" might be the best rap line I've heard in years. I swear. Man, I'm hyped up now after that one. Dom Brown's music. That's a great hype song right there. Nate from Circle the Wagons Pod joining us to continue this early pregame show for the AFC Championship. Nate, thanks for being here, man. How's it going for you?
Oh, I am doing great. Wait, Kevin, thank you guys for having me on. So excited to talk to you guys. And the playoff beard's still growing. Let's hope that it grows for another couple weeks after this, right?
No, it's a good topic. I mean,
Yeah.
I am not superstitious. My wife is.
I'm a little stitious, but
Obviously, all Bills fans pretty superstitious. I think the professor out of UB just came out with something saying that you can be superstitious. So there's something to that, for whatever that means. I'm not superstitious. I don't think shaving my beard will make the Bills lose, but it's here. I do not want that on.
It's because I did shave mine. So
I don't want that on me at all. So Nate, thanks for coming in today.
Yep.
Let's start off with this. What are your thoughts? I mean, I have to always ask people today, it's 1:51. We're about to kick off the NFC Championship game here shortly. What are your thoughts? What's going through your head as a podcaster? How are you feeling? Is this new? Is it kind of like another day for you? Like what's going on for you?
Well, this is uncharted territory for me. And I mean, since I was like 10 or 11, the last time they went to the AFC Championship. So I have not been an adult and been able to experience it. So this is it's incredible. It's exciting. It's nerve-wracking. It's all of these things. I mean, I'm just, I look at today in general as, the Chiefs are a really good team, obviously defending Super Bowl champions. You can't take anything away from them, but the Bills are the hot team right now. They've been able to prove that they can win with either their offense or their defense on any given day. If you want to be in this situation, you don't want to be the team that's hobbled going into it. You want to be the team that's hot. And the Bills have proven that they're that team. I mean, they beat an 11-5 Colts team in the wild card. I mean, normally in the wild card round, you get a chance to play like the 7th seed,
Chicago.
8th team. Yeah,
the
exactly.
Browns.
The Bills didn't get that. The AFC is so good this season. So I'm all of those things. I'm excited. I'm nervous. It's a wave of emotions. I'm stuck in a telephone booth or whatever. Just
The glass case of emotion. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really good point. We haven't touched on it on this pregame show yet. But you mentioned the Colts, and it's something we've been vocal on in this show, that wasn't, everyone's like, well, yeah, it's obviously the best 7 seed ever because there hasn't been any. I mean, it's true, but I mean, that is not who you're looking for in the first round of a playoff game. A savvy vet like Phil going out on his own terms. He did not want to go out with a loss. The Bills had to play really well to beat that team, and they had a great game plan against Buffalo. One that, quite frankly, couldn't have turned out the way that it did. The Colts, I think, had looked better to me than the Ravens. And I tweeted this earlier, and maybe you can tell me what you think. I think the Colts have a lot better weapons and a better team all around than Kansas City Chiefs, but the Chiefs have Mahomes and Kelsey. You just can't take them away from the field. It's just not something that happens. Other than that, though, that Colts team is very solid. And do you kind of subscribe to the opinion that Mahomes will be limited today? We'll have banged up Bills on here shortly to talk about that. But what's going through your head as you read he could need surgery? The turf toe's never anything to mess around with, needs injections. You could freeze up a foot doing injections. Like, kind of where are you at with that, and what's running through your mind as you see some of that?
I feel better that that's Mahomes and not Josh Allen going through all these things right now. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, the Bills are pretty darn healthy compared to the Chiefs. I mean, you definitely don't want to see somebody's starting quarterback that you're playing against going through a concussion, having turf toe, and all of these injuries that you just mentioned. But at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. You know, you have to play with what you have against who you're playing against. And the Bills are not only the hot team, like we mentioned, but they're healthier. They're hitting at the right time. Their offense and defense are just clicking. If you look at that Week 6 matchup where the Bills played against the Chiefs, the Bills were missing Matt Milano. Matt Milano's huge. Travis Kelce had 2 touchdowns that game. Maybe he has one less touchdown if it's Matt Milano covering him. This feels good as a Bills fan looking at the injury report, and I know that Gabriel Davis might not play today, which will be very unfortunate. But luckily, it's one of the deepest positions on the roster right now, with John Brown, Cole Beasley. Hopefully, Beasley's will be active today as well, and then Stephon Diggs going. I mean, this feels good. It feels too good. I'm a little worried, right? Like. Yeah.
No, I've been worried about how optimistic I've been in the shower when I usually have my best thoughts like everybody else in the shower. I thought about putting $200 on the Bills money line, and that might be the worst idea I've ever had in the shower. But you bring up Gabriel Davis, so I think that's a good talking point because we haven't actually, I'm amazed, 40 minutes have gone by on the show, and we haven't talked about him really once. So let's say he is out of the lineup. We already heard that Kenny Stills is the one that they called up from the practice squad that would likely take his place. I feel like we should feel really good about the Bills having their wide receiver 5 or wide receiver 6 being Kenny Stills. Like, that's not a bad guy to have to plug into a lineup, right?
No, a guy that can be a wide receiver 2 or potentially a wide receiver 1 on any given team. I mean, he's proven time and again that he is a deep threat. He's burned the Bills several times when he was with the Dolphins. He's great in fantasy if you have him, not like as a wide receiver 1 or 2, maybe a good flex play, but he has a home run ability, and it's not like a Phillip Rivers where you worry about the guy's arm strength. Josh Allen can get him the ball. Yeah. And unlike last week where, Josh Allen struggled with the wind, as did, Lamar Jackson, I don't think they'll have to worry about this week. Hopefully, I know it's going to be a little wetter there. I don't know. Have you guys heard more about the forecast?
And real quickly, we'll jump in here because there is a report out of ESPN. Gabriel Davis is very iffy for the game. Added Kenny Stills played at Gabriel Davis's spot all week. So there is a segue right now. So good talking point. Glad we are on that. That is the current news and nuggets. It looks like Kenny Stills will be in the lineup today, bearing something warm-ups that Gabe Davis is able to go. But Gabriel Davis looks to be out of this football game. So that's kind of breaking news. We'll get that down at the ticker as soon as we can. But it's looking like Kenny Stills will take that role. And I'm glad that you are able to go on and talk about that a little bit. How's your feelings on Kenny Stills? I know you brought it down a little bit. We'll have, actually, to your question, we'll have Maniac on the show in 45 minutes roughly, if we can get him with good internet signal, who will be down on the field. He will be live in Kansas City for us. So tune into that, and hopefully we'll have some good weather answers as well as atmosphere, and Maniac will bring it. So we'll have that going in a little while here. But what is your, so we'll talk about Kenny Stills now. It's more relevant. Before he could be inactive. So, we don't want to spend too much time on it. Now looking like he will be the active wide receiver for Gabriel Davis. Is this a game where he'll get 10 snaps, do you think? Or is it a game you could see 60% of snaps and be effective because Kansas City doesn't have anything on him?
Yeah, I could see it going either way. I'm leaning towards McDermott being slightly more conservative and probably being more like the 10 to 15 snaps. But man, I'd love to see him out there as much as possible. Not for nothing. Like, I love Gabe Davis. He's proven to be a very good rookie, but he's still a rookie. And there are some games where he just doesn't have, there's some games where he looks like an all pro. Like a few games ago when he was, Count Dracula,
Oh, I love that name. I didn't hear that one.
The sideline surgeon. The dude was crushing.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yep. But then you had it like last week where he was 0 for 4, with 4 targets. So, it sucks to lose him. But to have a proven veteran like this in his stead, as opposed to like a Duke Williams, which we all love Duke Williams, but he is not Kenny Stills. at this point in his career. So it stinks, but I'm excited to what they can bring, to what Kenny Stills can bring to this offense, if anything, in limited. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it'll be more in the 10 to 15 range, or do you think it'll be more like you mentioned, Kevin, 60 to 70% of the snaps?
If I were to guess, I would say it's below 50 for sure. Just because I feel like they are comfortable with Dawson Knox and the progress he's made, keeping Lee Smith in as a blocker. And they usually do have a running back in on almost every single play, regardless of who it is. So, whether if they're going 4 wide receivers, and I feel like they will a lot against a banged up secondary like the Chiefs have, I would think that he could be closer to maybe like 30% of the snaps. I'd probably put the cap at like 45. No pun intended. Kevin, what do you think? What would you say Stills' max for snaps would be today?
I don't think there could be a max. So I think it could be ranging, like we've talked about, from the 10 snap scenario to what you're talking about to no max. I mean, Gabriel Davis plays a lot. If they're going, depending on their personnel usage, if they're going to go 10 personnel, whatever it is that they're looking at, you could see a lot of Kenny Stills all the way down to what Nate was talking about with conservative 10 snaps. The TJ Yeldon approach was something I was interested in, where he didn't really see the field at all. So that could be precedent on this whole scenario, but at the same time, it's a different position group. It's a position group they like to be at. And I do think that it probably will wind up being more on the conservative end with Isaiah Mckenzie taking some of those snaps in this game away from them. But I mean, he's more of a direct replacement for a Beasley or other scenario. So it wouldn't shock me to see all of a sudden the game report and you see 70% from Kenny Stills. And it wouldn't shock me if you saw 8 snaps total. So it's tough to know what he's going to do here with Stills, but I do think he brings that dynamic down the field weapon. And I don't think they have anything on him. I mean, KC's looking at it like, we don't know what he can bring. We don't know what he is today. And that could allude to more snaps. So maybe it's game-to-game scenario where he plays early. He doesn't look great, not running the right routes. Josh Allen's like, I don't know where he is. He won't play much. If he's in there and Josh is like, he's open, like, I'm going to use him, even more than someone like Kumaro, I think you could start to see that snap count rise in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a 1-to-1 replacement of Gabriel Davis, Kenny Stills definitely fits that more from a measurement standpoint and a route running standpoint than I would say an Isaiah Mckenzie, who can sometimes be more of a gadget player than, more of like you said, more of a Cole Beasley like role as opposed to a Stephon Diggs role or Gabriel Davis or John Brown even. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how. But I mean, just in general with this game, I mean, we're here on the eve of the AFC Championship, and it's like I tweeted this out last night, where it's either going to be, like it's the night before Christmas. We're either going to get like the Super Nintendo that we've asked our parents for all year long, or hoping that Santa brings us, or our house is going to be set on fire. So here's my question for you guys, because I've been thinking about this a lot. To me, this season in general and the playoffs have kind of been like just house money. Like we got further than we expected to. I'm going to be upset as hell if they lose tonight, but at least I'll understand it. It's a Super Bowl defending Chiefs, whatever. This isn't the Browns we're losing against. But let me know what you think about this. The way that I will be so upset, it'll be almost unfathomable, is if the Bills lose by some sort of crazy crap that happened like last year against the Texans, where there was a play in the end zone where these
speaking it into existence, Nate. I don't like what you're doing, Nate.
These guys, these refs in all black that I haven't seen since then or before then come out. I mean, will you guys be able to accept a loss at all, or are you in my boat where I'll only be able to accept it as long as it's not from that?
Well, I got another drink, so you know how I feel. Kevin, go ahead.
I don't want an officials steering their way. So this official crew will call the least amount of penalties in the NFL as per their statistics. I'm hoping that holds true. I just don't want any scenarios where we're talking about a holding. We're talking about like last year with the blindside block and the forward pass in the end zone, not knowing the rules on how to kneel a kickoff. I don't want any of those kind of scenarios. I'm looking forward to officials not being involved based on the stat count of their flag ability of during the season. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't think I can hold a loss what that has to do with the officials in this game. So I think that's a really important note and nugget that I don't think for sure I need to see them lose the game because, quite frankly, we just couldn't get it done. And I think week 6 kind of is precedent on, maybe worst case scenario when Mahomes is healthy, or you had some Bills out of the lineup, they were running wild. I mean, that's almost worst case scenario in a game like this. Especially with Mahomes' foot injury. But we do have to, I know everyone's on a tight schedule, and we want to let you, kind of tell us where to get your information. What are you posting about today? Where can we find you? And we need your score prediction and why.
Okay, great. Well, you guys can all find me on the Buffalo Rumblings podcast network. We do a recap after every game, win or lose. So we'll be releasing one tonight late after this. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at CTW Pod, like Circling the Wagons Pod.
Awesome.
Appreciate you guys having me on, obviously, but I don't know. It's weird. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling the Bills right now. The Bills being the hot team going in. I have a feeling like they're like, even though they're the second seed, they're being looked at like the Giants that year. They were 9-7, and they ended up beating the 16-0 Patriots. I think this might be a team of destiny. I'm feeling really good about it for some strange reason, which feels weird, right? It feels weird to be good as a Bills fan. So I'm going to say it's going to be like 31-28 Buffalo in this one.
Okay, 31-28. That one will get the blood boiling a little bit, and I feel
over and a push.
Over and a because it did move.
No, sorry, it's Chiefs. No, it's Chiefs. Sorry, you have an over and a cover.
Over and a cover for the Bills.
So everyone's been the over and the cover. So Nate, we really appreciate that. Look out for Nate's stuff. We'll tweet out links to where you can get him and his thoughts. And he's a friend of the show. We might have had you on last time the Chiefs played. I think it was around then.
It was, it was right before that Titans scandal.
It was close. It was close.
Hey Nate, how you been? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Dude, nice shirt. That is an amazing shirt right there.
Thank you. You know what? Thanks for saying that, because I haven't plugged the Trainwreck Sports T Public page yet. You can get this 17 plus 14 equals 6. That's just science. I don't make it up. I don't know how it works. I just know that it does.
It does.
Yeah. It worked 8 times this year in the regular season, I'm pretty sure. So
Nate,
it worked on the shirt.
Nate, we really appreciate you coming on. We'll get you on soon in the off season. With the Bill Super Bowl victory or not, we'll be there with you.
Victory. I felt bad about just saying Super Bowl. All right, too many bad omens here, Nate.
All right, guys,
being here, man.
All right, I'll have to have you guys on in the off season too. Hopefully, the off season is like in the middle of February.
Yeah.
We'll agree with that.
All right, Nate. Thanks a ton. Go Bells. Oh man. All right. Too many bad omens there. Greg, bring us some good. Hockey. Dylan Cousins isn't playing today. We'll take a quick Bills break. How are you enjoying your first start to a full season of being a Sabres fan?
So I am officially tuned in. I knew that Dylan Cousins wasn't playing, and I knew that Ralph Kruger said it was a scheduled absence that was not anything to be concerned with or out of the ordinary. So, I've watched every Sabres game so far this year. I've watched every minute of every Sabres game, and I am trying to soak it in and learn as I go. You guys can see on Twitter, I try not to take myself too seriously, and sometimes people think I'm joking, and I'm like, no, seriously, I need you to tell me how overtime works, because I don't know how it works. So I'm having fun with it. It's I grew up wrestling since I was 4. Wrestling season is during hockey season. I never learned to skate, and then because I never learned to skate, all my cousins who were playing, I never learned the nuances of like how the game works and things. So like, I'm not a dummy. I get it. Like, I can see the guys moving down. I can see a good pass and a score. I get it. The general gist of it. I get it that offsides is kind of like cherry picking. Like I've got some of the pieces of it, but I never see anything coming. Like, I never can see the play setting up or why. I have no clue how and why line shifts work or the strategy of who you're lining up with matchups. I struggle to keep track of who which player is because I can't see the jersey number all the time, and positions are so much more ambiguous than in football with the movement. So I struggle to know who the player is until like after something happens. So I'm very much a neophyte just learning, but I'm having fun with it.
I'm glad you bring up Cousins because we'll relate that to football. That's like if week 2 you had to make a decision on AJ Epinesa playing the rest of the season or pushing his contract another year.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
Yeah, and I get, obviously I'm a little bit more attuned with baseball, and like obviously, like the stupid stuff where we're not going to call him up until May 15th because then it doesn't count as a year, and like the nonsense where a player is obviously a starting caliber player, but you're playing contract gymnastics. And I hope that I would have liked to see a win, obviously with shorthanded Capitals, and then give some confidence that, hey, this can be a playoff run because you spent all that money on Taylor Hall and all the things that go with that. So I hope that they're making decisions on how to win versus what's the best contract structuring. But I also understand sports are a business and those things are going to happen.
And I'm glad football takes that out. You mentioned baseball. It is common. I'm a big Yankees fan. It takes that out of it. The Yankees play that game all the time because they're usually vet heavy. But so I'm glad you bring that point up. Football, not the same. And to kick off the football portion of Greg, we have limited time with Greg. Greg's on like 100 shows today.
I'm a podcast floozy.
I get it.
You dirty dog.
I get it. He spreads his wealth, and we appreciate that. And we do have we'll start off with a question in the chats.
Sure.
Longtime listener, first time caller. How important is gap integrity today? Is that a comment you're gonna really go with today, or are you more in the camp of the Week 6 game? I don't mind that because of the way it worked out against Mahomes.
So it's funny. I've been leaning into that all week as one of the favorite terms that gets thrown around at the water cooler that people kind of understand, but just throw it out there because it sounds like smart football. In this game, Eric and I just did a preview show this morning. I actually am more interested in rush lane integrity and being able to stick to where you're supposed to be if we're going to try to flush him out and test Mahomes' toe and see how his mobility is early, then be smart about it and don't give up free yards. In the run game, I think a lot of people have made smart points that the game plan in Week 6 was not as bad as the execution was. Like, it wasn't a terrible idea. We just didn't do a great job at it. And now you swap in Matt Milano, and instead of AJ Klein and Cam Lewis chasing Travis Kelce, now you have peak Taron Johnson and Matt Milano. You have the development of the defensive line. I don't hate tempting them with some 5 and 6 man boxes and then just rally and tackle for a 5 and 6 yard gain, not a 12 and 13 yard gain. So I'm okay with them having a good run game on the day because them running the ball is better than them passing the ball. But you can't get gashed like they did before, and you can't. People are excited, rightfully, about Tyreek Hill being held to 3 catches, 20 yards. That's a good thing. But we let Travis Kelce and Edwards-Helaire go off.
And Byron Sprinkle.
Yeah, that play still bothers me. That triangle of Edwards-Helaire, Kelce, and Hill, we can let one of them go off. If 2 of them go off, any combination, it gets harder for the Bills. So we're not stopping all 3 of them. We're not holding them to 3 like we did the Ravens. This team's going to score. We need to be able to make sure we focus on keeping 2 of them down and not let 2 of them go off.
Yeah, and like last time, like it's not like they were super efficient with the run game as a whole. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire alone killed us. But when it came to like Darrell Williams or Darwin Thompson or whoever the hell else they were running the ball with, I think it came out to like 46 carries for like 250. So averaging 5 a clip isn't good, but it's not like as a team it was more heavy on Edwards-Helaire. So we're gonna have banged up Bills, I hope. But let's say. Edwards-Helaire has this, this high ankle sprain. I don't see even him being active, him being super effective. So I think already that's one thing that can go in.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Greg? What are your thoughts on Clyde Edwards-Helaire? And then obviously you have Le'Veon Bell showing up with a DNP with a knee. What's going on in the running game? It can't even be. I mean, even if he plays, he hasn't played with that high ankle sprain. We saw Zach Moss get surgery on this same injury. Do you expect, even if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is active, I think he might be active because Le'Veon Bell can't be. So what is your thoughts on that? And what do you have going on how it's going to be different than Week 6?
So I absolutely see it as a direct correlation that if Le'Veon Bell was healthy and they thought they could patch it together with Darrell Williams and Le'Veon Bell, that it would have been, I think they would have played it right up till game time, make the team game plan for it. Him playing, I think, is strongly influenced by Le'Veon Bell being out. I don't know that he would have been out and is now only playing because Le'Veon Bell. I think he was influenced by it, and I think he's very clearly not 100%. We're probably going to hear about him having a very similar procedure to Zach Moss. He's had the luxury of, if we were in the same spot and Moss got hurt in Week 16 and we had this alternative as an option, I'm guessing they would have done the same thing. They would have sat him for as long as they could, hope we went on a run long enough where he could come back, and then we're just going to cross our fingers and see what happens when you cut real hard the first time. That's what we're going to see today. And there is an absolute possibility that we see him on the first snap try to kick it into gear and all of a sudden realize, oh crap, I don't have it. You see it all the time with hamstrings where guys, they practice and they run hard, but they don't like sprint away from an NFL cornerback run hard. And then all of a sudden they see open field and like, oh, let's go. And they try to kick it into gear. And then you see him pull up and grab the hammy. I'm sure Edwards-Helaire has done drills and planted his foot pretty hard.
Yeah.
He hasn't planted in the sense of, oh, Tremaine Edmonds over pursued, there's a gap, let me boom, and now tries to cut up, and then we're going to find out if he still has it when he puts that foot in the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. Like, you don't root for injuries for anybody ever, no matter what.
For sure.
All week I've been hoping Mahomes would come back because I want the best to be playing the best. Iron sharpens iron, that whole cliche and everything. But, you know, as something we haven't talked about yet, and, you know, the storylines coming into this week are just annoying about Mahomes' injury, about, you know, the Bills. Like, there's the one Chiefs account that I love quote tweeting and adding from Crowd Assist's account saying that, like, you know, the Bills have done horribly on third down, and they're trying to make up excuses and everything, and, like, you know, reasons for optimism, but also having excuses in their back pocket for if we lose, we're okay, guys. It's not our fault. Like, it's just I don't think since the Titans I've had a fan base that I'm ready to beat so hard, you know.
No, I mean, obviously there's all kinds of fun things that go with it. They're the defending champs. They are, you know, the hunted for a reason. They were the number one seed for a reason, defending Super Bowl MVP, 2 years ago, the NFL MVP, literally the new golden boy of the NFL. And then you add in, they weren't far off from us last year. Last year at this point, they're going into an initial promising run, a quarterback who made a huge leap, and now all of a sudden you're there, and a fan base who hadn't won a title in 50 years. And now you're tilting that back. They were in an incredibly similar position. We think of the Chiefs differently than the Bills because their drought per se had lots of playoff games and overall relative success, but they hadn't won a title since 50 years. It's been since it was at that point Super Bowl III. So going through that stretch, they're not far off from where we are, and now I think acting like they're this upcoming dynasty and an inevitability, I think is a little premature.
I mean, I think that's more than fair. And I do want to, we spent a little bit of time on the Chiefs offense here. Let's talk about their defense for a little bit and their DBs and some of them banged up, concussion protocol. We didn't really talk about Rashad Breeland a lot because of Mahomes. He just got cleared. We'll see, what that means for him. Usually when you're cleared, we'll have banged up Bills tell us that should mean you're good to go, shouldn't have any ill effects. But you also have Rashad Fenton with a foot injury here as well, and Willie Gay not playing, a backup linebacker who does get snaps. What are your thoughts on that back seven movement? Is there anything Josh can take advantage of? And I think that those are some productive matchups if you don't see someone like Fenton play today.
Oh, for sure. So I think that people know three names on the Chiefs defense. They know Chris Jones, they know Frank Clark, they know Tyrann Mathieu. Yep. As far as the depth behind that goes, of do we not know them because they're not good, or do we not know them because we don't know the names? I think the secondary is because we don't know the names. I think the front seven is because they're not that good. In the secondary, guys like L'Jarius Sneed, Rashad Breeland, Fenton, having those options. Juan Thornhill is actually a decent center fielder. Having those options, there's some talent there. They're okay. They're not fantastic. They don't have a ton of depth. And if you pull that out, so L'Jarius Sneed is very much, for Bills fans, a Marcus Peters type player, where his name because he jumps routes and is super aggressive. He also jumps routes and gets roasted sometimes. So that's a play that if we can play on his aggressiveness, Josh has to be careful. He's sharp, he's smart, he has good instincts, he can jump a route, but he'll try to. And Josh Allen has the same weapon the Chiefs have. Every defender underestimates his arm strength until they see it. And all of a sudden, you saw it with J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson's a really good player. He thought he was going to jump the route that he was guarding Stephon Diggs. All of a sudden, whew, the ball's by him, and he watches Stephon Diggs run for a 50-yard touchdown. I predict we could see something like that with L'Jarius Sneed. Breland obviously just came out of concussion protocol, and everything that goes along with that. He's been cleared. I expect him to fully play. He's a talented player. He's a good physical player. I think he can give John Brown some problems at the line of scrimmage. If he doesn't, Brown can get by him, and I think that could be something to watch there. And then, Fenton, Sorensen, Thornhill, they kind of use an interesting combination, and sometimes they list Tyrann Mathieu as a safety, but he plays all over the field. So sometimes you see him up closer to the line of scrimmage and there's two safeties behind him. Sometimes you see him back a little bit further and they bring in someone like Fenton. They have a couple guys who kind of play the alternate depending on what Matthew's role is. And that structure, I hope, gives Dable, Dorsey, Allen some tells sometimes that who's on the field and personnel-wise can almost give you some indication of what Matthew's going to be doing that play, because he's the real key in that back seven, is knowing where Tyrann Mathieu is every play. Don't let him make a game-changing play.
It's not Dirty Dan Sorensen.
So if Bills fans want to pray for anything in this game, it's every single snap we can get where Sorensen is responsible for Cole Beasley. Anytime that is a possibility, where they're playing around and moving Matthew around as a joker, or they don't have Fenton lined up right, or they try to run that combination and we're moving people around with motion and being able to get matchups lined up. Every snap we can get Sorensen responsible for Cole Beasley is a huge win for the Bills.
You would think Sorensen would be good in run support too. He's awful in it from this film I've watched.
He's an aggressive player. He's earned his nicknames for a reason. He has made some big plays. He has a decent eye for the ball. Like he reads quarterbacks well. He's not a phenomenal athlete to get there, but he knows where to go and when, and he can take advantage of it if you make a mistake. If we can get him isolated where his athleticism is exposed, we can roast him.
Now, linebackers. I've had a couple people on the show today not like the Chiefs linebackers. What's your thought on that? I mean, they're missing Willie Gay, a nice rookie piece that's played fairly okay at times with his limited, 269 snaps. But what do you think about Damian Wilson, Ben Neiman, Anthony Hitchens? What do you think that they're like, and how do they play a role? It's an underwhelming linebacking core, but what's your opinion on this in general?
So obviously, Willie Gay wasn't like a core starter for them, but he's their most athletic linebacker by a lot. And if in really pass-heavy games, which he played a lot of late in games when teams were behind and chasing from behind, and he's really good in coverage. The Bills wanted Anthony Hitchens. I was on that boat, and we wanted him more so in the A.J. Klein role, where you want him for 20% of snaps in heavy sets, playing the run. Getting him out into coverage, I mean, it's hard because sometimes when teams talk about their struggles at safety and linebacker, I always talk about, that's great, but our running backs and tight ends aren't that good, so it doesn't matter that much. I do think it can matter on some of the crossers. I do think it can matter anytime they're in zone. They do not have a great deal of athleticism in the middle of the field outside of Tyrann Mathieu. So getting Hitchens into space is key. They'll use him to blitz here or there. Neiman is a huge liability for them, and someone we had, Kent Swanson from Arrowhead Pride, on our show Wednesday night. He even jokes, I don't even want to talk about Ben Neiman. Let's just move on. So the fact that they're missing Gay as a chess piece, Willie Gay is more of their... We don't do it at linebacker, so I don't even know what to call him. He's more like their, Quentin Jefferson or Dean Marlowe, like a player that you can use in a key spot. But he was playing some key downs, so losing out on that option is a negative for them.
Good. That's all we're trying to do is limit chess pieces, Greg, as you've brought up many times on both sides of the ball. We're just trying to limit chess pieces for them to have limited options, for sure.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to bring up, because you mentioned Sorensen covering people in the middle of the field. The Chiefs are really bad in DVOA against passes to the middle of the field, very, very subpar. And maybe it's because just the cornerbacks can't cover the middle of the field very well. And when you have Cole Beasley, who every Bills defender has been saying how underrated of a route runner and just an overall receiver he is. Again, short kings for the win. I think Cole Beasley could be in for. I wouldn't be. I would never bet on it. Maybe if the odds were good enough, but I would bet maybe that he might have more receiving yards than Stephon Diggs come end of this game, just because of the matchup that we see there. Would that be outlandish, do you think, for people who expect that kind of game from Beasley?
So I would say not outlandish when you consider Spagnuolo's attention that he's going to have on Diggs.
Yeah,
he's going to see a ton of bracket coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Both of their corners are very physical corners, so that can be a risk when you're leaving guys on an island. Well, if you're giving them constant bracket coverage and back up behind him, you could be really physical at the line of scrimmage, because if you initially get beat, you've got protection behind you, and getting beat is an 8-yard gain and not a 50-yard touchdown. So I do expect to see that. I do expect, we've obviously seen Stephon Diggs didn't break the NFL record for most 6+ catch games because they go away from double coverage and bracket coverage. Yeah. Josh Allen is throwing the ball to Stephon Diggs. He's going to get the ball. And when you get him out in space, the combination of Stephon Diggs' route running, separation, and Josh Allen's arm strength, there's no such thing as bracket or double team coverage. They only need that much space to get the ball into, and they're going to have that happen a handful of times. I do think Beasley is a sneaky key to this game, in the sense of, I've told myself that the reason he was so quiet was Marlon Humphrey, and I hope that's right. I hope it's not because of his knee, and I hope it's not because he was, easily taken out of the game, and Marlon Humphrey's awesome, because he did a 7 for 70 the week before. So obviously, I'm hoping that's not the case. I hope the extra day off helped a little bit here. I hope that, him not having a heavy game load in that game helps a little bit here. Mm-hmm. If he's ready to go, they do not have anyone that can match up with him. If he's compromised and he's, being a warrior and gutting it out at 70%, because that's still better than what we have.
Of course. They
have guys who can keep up with 70% of Cole Beasley.
I like that. I think that's a really good point you bring up with, he said he was healthier last week. He's got to be even healthier now. He's almost got to be close as he's going to be to full strength for the year. So Greg, it's a good point.
When we have 2 weeks off until the Super Bowl, he'll have time for that.
I see what you did there. That's a great segue, as we only have Greg for 5 more minutes here, guys. So we do need to, obviously everyone knows where to get Greg, his information. We'll have you plug that and cover one. Great work you're doing over there with Eric and Nate and Aaron.
One thing I did want to ask about, I'm sorry, Kevin, before we get into predictions or anything, but I saw Cover One did a really cool series of tweets about what the Chiefs do that could potentially take away all the crossers that the Bills run. And the one tweet I specifically saw was on the interception where Jarvis Landry just looked like he didn't want to catch the football at all, and then Matthew came out in front of him and picked it off right there. So what is it exactly that the Chiefs do that might make it difficult for the Bills when, Diggs really, he and Gabriel Davis both have made a living on crossing routes this year?
So not only crossers, but in just the passing game and the attack in general, I think people underestimate how varied the coverages are in Steve Spagnuolo's different defense. So you heard, I think it was Robert Mays and Nate Tice that do it on the Athletic podcast. They were talking about that it's really hard to go in, and we've seen Brian Daboll lean super far on the spectrum, both directions. The Patriots game, we are a crazy run-heavy team. The Seahawks game, we passed 28 of our 30 first snaps of the game. So if we see a weakness, we lean into it as much as any team in the NFL. With the Chiefs, it's not that simple, because you're trying to, when you're leaning into it, you're trying to call the right matchups. You're trying to call route combinations that will beat the coverages. Well, he'll run 8 different coverages every game, and if you pick the wrong one, you go right into his hand. So he almost forces teams to do what they're good at rather than trying to lean into the weakness of the defense, because he mixes it up so much. So that's a big piece of it, is that they're so varied in it, where they'll make it look like man, and they'll have it be a matchup zone where they actually just had a guy chasing on the crosser, but there's still a guy sitting there. In the crosser, we're depending on the guy kind of pulling away as he goes and creating space. Well, nope, they got a matchup zone, and they actually have somebody sitting there on the other hash or number ready to come back in and cut across, like you saw Taron Johnson not get seen by Lamar Jackson. That idea where you see the crosser coming across, nope, there's a robber sitting there. he confuses and disguises coverages really well, which helps when you don't have phenomenal talent outside of Matthew in that secondary, and that's how he's gotten away with so much of this year.
And obviously, we'd be remiss if we didn't get this before you got out of here. No, you got a hard stop at 2:30. So, give us your prediction. And are you going to be the fourth person, today to predict a Bills victory and Super Bowl berth?
Over and cover.
Victory, over, cover, all of them, yeah. And it will. So I'll give the same one I gave on the show. It's not going to be good for cardiologists throughout Western New York.
It might be good. They'll make money. They'll make some good money.
No, the ambulance calls, everything. It's going to be very, very heavy. I think we see the Bills jump out a little bit early. I think that the Chiefs come back. I think that the Chiefs take the lead.
Okay,
and then I think from not to the degree of the Rams game. Okay. I think like the Bills are up 7 or 10, but
Dolphins
have a lead
game?
And
First
then come
Dolphin
back.
Game?
And I think we see shot for shot from end of the third quarter through the end of the game, haymakers back and forth. I think we see the Chiefs take the lead, say 38-34 with two and a half minutes to go. And I think you see coming down and the Bills go on a game-winning Super Bowl berth clinching game-winning touchdown drive to win 41-38 with what should have been the end of that Cardinals game without the BS that ended that. What should have been that memorable game-winning Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs touchdown. And I think this is a game we talk about for years. Even non-Bills and Chiefs fans, this is going to be one of those memorable games. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, haymakers back and forth, and a truly memorable historic game.
So Greg's got the over. Greg's got the cover. He's got the Bills victory. And cardiologists over on the cardiologist support.
Over on the cardiologist.
Ambulance calls, emergency room visits, videos of people in thinking it's cardiac arrest. I hope for everyone's health and safety that it's not. But this is not going to be a helpful game.
Greg, thanks
Thank
for
God
coming
my
on.
dad's an EMT. That's all I'm going to
No, appreciate it, guys. Have a ton of fun. You guys had an awesome lineup today. Appreciate having the chance to come on and talk here. You guys can find me Cover One everywhere in cover1.net at Greg Tompsett, and Aaron and I will be on and ready for you guys, win or lose after this game tonight. Hopefully getting ready to celebrate a Bills win. We have it scheduled on the clock for 10:30 just in case, but we'll go live pretty much right as the game ends. So looking forward to it tonight. We'll be on there ready for you and hopefully celebrating a big Bills win.
Thanks, Greg. We really appreciate you coming on, and we'll see you on the post-game show over there at Cover One. Thanks, Greg.
Oh, man, that was great. Greg, always a pleasure. And also always a pleasure, Kyle Trimble from Banged Up Bills. Turf toe, I'm sick of hearing about it. Kevin and I both played soccer when we were younger, so we know how awful it can be. So let's just, not get right to it. Don't beat around the bush. How hard could it be for Mahomes, forget the concussion, to play and be effective with his turf toe? Because we did see it affect his throwing and his posture a little bit last week.
So first off, thanks for having me on, guys. Diving right into it, the turf toe, it could definitely affect him, more so with the running than the passing. We saw him be more effective with it last week because of the fact that it was an acute injury. His body was starting to go through the inflammation process. It was trying to kind of say, hey, stop. You need to sit him down and rest it. He's in the middle of the game. He's not going to have the chance to do that until he went into the concussion protocol, of course. Mm-hmm. So, we saw him limping around. Eric Turnover, Cover One, had a great video breakdown thread on Twitter of him struggling to really get around and, not able to pull out pressure through that foot. This week, he's had a week to let it rest. It's going to be a factor, but they're going to, tape that area up, put a stiff sole in it and the shoe. They're going to be able to just give some pain medication to help relieve some of that pain in there. He's still going to be affected. I'm thinking more in the second half, we're going to see him maybe struggle if the adrenaline wears off, some pain medication wears off, if he has to stress the foot any more than, he already does. So it's one of those things that, it's going to affect him, but how many other guys on both sides of the ball are dealing with injuries that either A, we don't know about, or B, they're just kind of working on getting through. So From what I'm seeing, if we can really make him scramble and make him use that foot, then that can really throw him off as they go on through the game and hopefully get him into doing a rare mistake, which we don't see him do to begin with, but hopefully we can pressure him into getting a turnover or something.
Now, we saw reports that said he might need surgery on this, plantar fascia surgery. Is that something common? To me, it's like I've heard bad stories about turf toe, and I know he's probably one of the NFL's best players. He's all the medical attention in the world. They know how to make it go away for a few hours. What's your opinion on all of that, with knowing that surgery could be on the fold at this point and trying to be effective while knowing, I don't know, that injury can bother people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it definitely can. I did see the report coming like right before I came on here that there's a potential he might need surgery.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just see how it goes. They're probably gonna take him up to Dr. Robert Anderson up at Green Bay. He's the guy to go to for foot and ankle injuries, and toes would be in with that there too. If it was bad enough, he would have likely tore or partially tore the plantar plate, which is like basically the bottom part of the joint where everything connects that with part of the plantar fascia when he's going to push off, and the joint, and just that kind of helps keep everything together down there. So when the toe gets hyperextended so much, it can tear apart that plantar plate, and then it's just not as effective to push off it, leading to instability, pain, swelling. So I don't know if whether they need surgery or not. Frankly, it's not going to matter right now because they're playing today, and then God forbid the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, he's going to play through it. So it's not like he can go get surgery in that, meantime. So it's kind of just hey, it's up in the air. And when the Chiefs are going to commit $500 million to this guy, they're going to have every doctor poke and prod him for every single injury. He has a hangnail. Hey, let's get you the best hand specialist. Let's get you the
don't
best.
Joke about hangnails. I hate nails.
I got a bunch for myself, but I think they're just putting that out there as a possibility. It might be severe enough where it might need surgery, but here nor there, he has to work with it till then, and it's kind of, let's see what happens. We know there's gonna be more surgeries after the season's over for both teams. It just, we'll see what happens with that.
How about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? That's an injury that we saw Moss go off and need a surgery on, and we see Clyde Edwards-Helaire trying to play. We have Le'Veon Bell on the injury report, not looking likely to play, and then we have a cornerback too in Fenton. So we'll start with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, as he was a key to this game in week 6, the way the Bills play defense. What do you think in there, kind of a couple of weeks after that week 16 injury? And that's just another even more brutal injury. So as we've seen Moss go off and need surgery, what's your opinion on this and how effective he can be in this game plan?
So he had the high ankle sprain on the left side, and he also had the hip injury, and they said it was a strain, though we've seen hip injuries be kind of downplayed, then there's something bigger going on later. So he's had, I think it was actually week 15 that he suffered the injury because he missed. Yeah, so he missed 16, 17, then the bye week, and then he missed last week. So he's a month off. Those high ankles take, roughly 6 weeks we see to come back, where they can be truly effective. But you see guys come back after 2 or 3 weeks and try to battle through it there. So the fact that he's had the month off to recover and just focus on his recovery, not trying to really practice all that much, though it seemed like he was ready to go last week and they held him out. He should probably be not 100%, none of those guys are, but pretty close to 100%, where he can say, hey, I can still be effective. I don't know that he's going to do what he did against the Bills in week 6, but I don't think that we can discount him and say, well, he's not going to be a factor and he's just going to be a body out there. I do worry about the hip. They say it's a strain. It could be more, but if he were to get, he could certainly re-aggravate the high ankle sprain. They do have the Darrell Williams and I think Darwin Tompsett behind him if they have to get him. But I could see them cycling guys out, just keep him fresh, especially he's a rookie coming off a fairly serious ankle injury. And I would think that they'd want to make sure they keep him fresh for the entire game because what guy doesn't want to have the top back in the fourth quarter when you need a score? So,
right.
Yeah, I did dive into, and take this for what you will because you'll understand why, but I did go into a rabbit hole of Chiefs Twitter replies. And apparently one of the guys that they activated is more of a special teams player, which makes fans believe, and I'll believe what I've seen from the consensus there because that's the best we have to go on, that it looks like Sammy Watkins would play, and that the special teamer is so that Darwin Thompson is available for more running back snaps as opposed to special team snaps. So possibly they might be anticipating Edwards-Helaire maybe doesn't go fully, but it could also just be an insurance policy because as we know, we haven't seen inactives yet. We don't know if this guy's going to be active and exactly, how that's all going to shake out. Did want to ask about Gabe Davis, though, because Ryan Talbot, who works with Matt Perino, who we had on recently this past week, he said that Gabe Davis is at best iffy to play today. So what is it exactly that's bothering Gabriel? And, if he does go, and it looks like we might see Kenny Stills instead, but if he does go, how effective could he actually be?
And what did you see, if you saw anything with him on film?
So there's a pretty good angle when he was trying to catch a touchdown in the end zone. And it looked like a low ankle sprain, which are usually pretty routine. It could have been something else. He might jammed up his ankle. It just depends on the type of angle you're seeing with regards to the video angle. And then obviously if you do the evaluation, he was a questionable return when he suffered the injury. And then he did return, but he just really wasn't effective. I believe he missed a jump ball and just was kind of hobbling around the rest of the game. So either the ankle sprain is more severe than we think, or it's something else that just isn't clear based off video alone. I originally thought that what we saw in video, I was like, okay, low ankle sprain, tape it up, he'll play. And then you see the do not participate. He's limited. I'm thinking he is known for the toe tap catches on the ends or the edge of the field. He's known for just those dazzling plays, I guess, if you want lack of a better term, but he's known for getting up and getting the ball and, really doing a lot with it there. Based off how the ankle is going, I don't know that he can do that effectively. And I'm thinking you got a young guy, you could probably use him in the Super Bowl if you make it that far, which I really think they will. And they'd say, let's keep him out, get him healthy, use this veteran who is 100% healthy. The Chiefs haven't seen him in our system yet on film. Let's try to work that into our favor. So he just was trending down all week, and it's a shame they won't play, but I'd rather have somebody healthy who can contribute and make sure he's ready for the next week if able to.
I appreciate that. And anything real quickly, and then we'll get into some of your thoughts of the game. On Fenton, we talked about Bell and Watkins a little bit, but we'll kind of lump those all together if you've noticed or seen anything on Rashad Fenton, who's a big piece of their defense, cornerback, Watkins with the calf, and then obviously we have, Le'Veon Bell, after practicing Wednesday and maybe getting hurt in practice there or something. What do you lump those all together? Any nuggets you might have?
There wasn't a ton on Fenton. They just said foot injury. I didn't see anything on video, though. I can't say I went and looked for it on the film. I've been more or less focused on the Bills this week, hence the name. But I look at the Brashad Breeland with a concussion shoulder. He did pass the concussion protocol yesterday. So you figure one of those guys are for sure and go. We know Breeland is not clear. He's probably going to go. Yep. I would think that they're going to try to get Fenton out there, but you got to wonder how much you're going to see of Fenton. And I think Breeland's the starter, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Yeah, so I would think that they'd have Fenton out there just in case, or if they could say, hey, you're not ready, let's get somebody else in there who can back Breeland up knowing that he's ready. So we just don't have a ton of information on that. I'm sure some Chiefs reporters might have more information on that. I did see Sammy Watkins is still on a calf injury. He's missed the past 2 games, I believe. And he's one of those guys dating back to his time in Buffalo. He's just constantly dealing with injuries and just can't really ever be healthy enough to be consistent with it. So They were saying that he's trending in the wrong direction. I saw this morning, and it's not like he's going to play, which is incredible. I would think that, hey, you're on the chance to go to another Super Bowl and get out there and play, but maybe they're confident.
Traded you.
Yeah, right. So I don't think he's going to play based off what we're seeing today. And then the other guy, you said Bell. It sounds like he was trending down, and he's going to be out today. But you can just tell he's not what he was when he was in Pittsburgh. I mean, he took off that year, and then he played the Jets, which, the Jets. That's all I'm going to say about that. So he comes over to the Chiefs, and he just hasn't really ever been that dominant self. And I think his best days are behind him, unfortunately. And considering the depth they have at the running back position is maybe same for Super Bowl if they make it that far, which I don't think they will. However, we don't know what happened. He just says he's reported the deal was swelling in the knee that limited him Thursday and Friday. Okay. So I know it's not a ton of great details with that, but I don't think Sammy Watkins plays. Fenton probably goes there, or at least as a backup as an option, and Bell probably doesn't play.
And the report Kyle is referring to here is Chiefs likely to have running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire about be without Le'Veon Bell for the game today against the Bills. Additionally, Chiefs will test Sammy Watkins pregame, but don't sound optimistic he plays. So those are kind of putting that all together. here for those Chiefs injuries, which will be the same offense they brought to Buffalo in Week 6 without Baliat. He was still going through the COVID protocols, and then you had Sammy Watkins out in that game as well. So this will be the same offense that they're bringing here. So it's an offense the Bills did okay with, besides Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So if he's banged up at all, that could be a good pivotal game changer in this specific game based on their game plan. And I think the Bills might do the same game plan because they might have those running back injuries. No Sammy Watkins. They might have felt good about what they were able to do defensively in Week 6. Kyle, what is your inactive? I know you love going through them. Give me your inactive for the Bills today. Who do you see? Do you see Trent Murphy getting the nod? Do you think, Butler? Do you see playing? Like, give me your final inactives, and then we'll get into your keys of the game and score predictions.
All right. So Jake Fromm, Tyrell Dodson, he's been out the entire postseason. I just don't know if they have a place for him on the active roster. Trent Murphy, I don't think he plays based off of they have Daryl Johnson back, which was a big thing. He does more on special teams than Trent Murphy, which he doesn't. Jordan Devey, Tyler Croft, I believe those two will sit. I have Gabriel Davis sitting right now, just based off of, this is off of my thoughts on Saturday morning when I published my article at Bang the Bills. And then we're seeing the reports that he's trending toward not playing. And then they brought their practice squad player up, which was Dane Jackson, who I believe how I read it was they were saying that if somebody was sick or whatnot, then you could plug and play him, or if they need an extra body. But I don't see them playing Jackson unless there's something going on pregame. Yeah. So those are my guys that are going to be sitting. And yes, your score prediction, correct?
Yeah. No, give me keys to the game, what you see happening. And I know you said you feel pretty confident in 2 weeks. So score prediction, how the Bills win. Why do you feel that confident? And your keys.
All right. So my keys to the game are just, I think, all the health that they have this time around. So like last time they played the Chiefs, we only lost by 9 points. They were missing Dawson Knox. They're missing Matt Milano. Harrison Phillips didn't play because he just was still coming back from the ACL tear. John Brown got hurt early on. Tre'Davious White was coming off his back injury. Josh Allen was coming off his left shoulder injury. And then a miss of one guy, John Feliciano. He wasn't even active yet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 guys that are big contributors now. You would think that would bring the Bills over the hump to beat them, especially when it was that close. So I think just the health and then sticking with what they know. I mean, they kept the Chiefs in check and didn't let them go over 30 points, which was hard to do this season. Yeah. Even though their defense wasn't that great. And I don't think they've won over by over 10 points at all this season, have they? The Chiefs?
I think you're right. I know they've only covered the spread once in their last 10 games. So they're definitely on fumes for a little bit.
Plus 8 total. In that span as well. So
that's not very good there. So I think with all the offensive firepower they bring back and just sticking to what they know and like having Matt Milano back, because that killed us with Travis Kelce, I believe, Week 6 there too. Yeah. I think it's just having the guys available and doing what they do best. I don't know if there's anything like, stopping the run, because people run all over the Bills, but then there's that bend don't break defense. So I'm okay with that. So I think it just comes back to the health of the team. And then the prediction, I'm going to stick with what I said with my guy, Joe Marino, on Locked On Bills. I'm going to stick 28-24. I know that takes the under. It goes against what Greg had said. Yeah.
You're the first under. I'm fine with unders. I like unders.
I like unders. I see the defense, trying to hold their own. And I mean, we held the Chiefs to 26 last time, and our offense wasn't clicking with all those, with everything going on with the injuries last time, and we got 17 points. So let's say we flip it around and go 28-24. I still obviously expect them to cover the spread and get the money line. But as I thought about that for do I want to take the under on that? But I'm going to stick with it. Somebody's got to take the under, right?
To me, life's too short to bet the under, but you know what? I completely get it. If it's an under, that means it's a competitive game, and I will definitely, as we talk with Greg, I'll be calling my cardiologist. Kyle, thanks for coming here and giving us everything you had and spending some time with us on Conference Championship Day. It means the world. Go Bills, and just enjoy the rest of your day as best you can, all right?
I'm going to do what I can. So pace around and just try and stay busy until 6:40. But thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it, and go Bills.
We'll get you on soon. Thanks so much, man.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're the best Bills guy out there for this kind of stuff.
Thank you. Man, all right. And now, guys, to close out the show, Mania coming in. Oh, man, look at that crowd. Are you on Orchard Park, Maniac? Where are you?
Oh, folks, we are here at a makeshift Lot X. I am in a party bus by myself, so you can say this party never stops. I hope I'm coming through good. This has been an amazing show so far. We've just been tuning in, and the show out here is no different. I'm going to tuck you out the window real quick just to show you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Obliterated table just no more than 10 seconds ago. But Bills Mafia is here. Bills Mafia is ready. We've got Pinto Ron. We've got Bills Elvis. And we've got, I would say right now, about 2,000 Bills fans in this lot. So obviously the StubHub, I don't know what the chitter chatter is on the interwebs, but there's a lot of rumors going around here that instead of maybe 2,000 to 3,000 Bills fans, we could be looking at 5 to 8.
Yeah, Maniac, we were both in Houston last year, not to bring up some bad memories, but, you know, it looks like that crowd, it looks like it could equate to what we saw last year, and I didn't know if that was going to be possible at all, so that's insane.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, for the most part, I will say, I mean, it is outdoors. A lot of people wearing masks.
Good.
Everybody has at least the chin strap mask ready to go, but let's face it, it's outdoors. Everyone's doing their best to distance, and the only thing we're trying to distance right now is our score from the Chiefs. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. We were worried about your sketchy cell phone reception, possibly. Clearly, it's not as sketchy as the Chiefs' red zone.
And that sweet TV you have back there.
That's nice.
That TV you have going on in the bus. Maniac, what's the weather like there right now?
Right now, really just overcast. I would say about, like, my feeler test would say 38 to 42 range.
Nice.
Right now, no precipitation that's evident. The sky is overcast, but it's really more of a white overcast. I wouldn't say there's any hint of gray. The sky is just white, and there's really not much happening. I mean, I think that right now, and I get that obviously there's science and meteorology reports and everything to go. I think the weather's going to be a little lackluster compared to what was expected all week.
Awesome. Do you expect rain, as you can tell?
No. Right now, if I had to bet based on the reports, which said it was going to be around 8 o'clock anyways, it looks like to me like it's going to hold off.
Awesome.
And if you had to bet, how do you feel about this game? I know it seems like morale's pretty good down there.
Morale is great right now. And credit to the KC fans. They're not too cocky for a team that's won 23 of their last 25 games and the defending Super Bowl champions. So I'll give them credit where they do. They're giving the Bills respect, probably because of how they got there. I mean, they had a lot of comebacks in last year's Super Bowl run. They played a lot of close games this year. So probably not, a reason to be super cocky. But at the same time, I'm optimistic. I think that the Bills that win against the Colts, not to sound ridiculous, but that was really the proverbial monkey off this Bills team's back. If you look at like the Ravens game, obviously they didn't execute as much as they wanted to on offense, but they did what they needed to. The Colts game was literally kind of like gripping it a little too hard, and they got by. I think there's a lot of optimism in these Bills fans, and let's face it, I mean, earlier during our Potapalooza, everybody predicted the Bills by 10, and that's pretty similar to the predictions I'm getting from people out here.
And on our show, got a lot of overs, got a lot of people, obviously wins, a lot of covers. Maniac, do you have another view of the fans? We got all kinds of asks. We got how many? We got 5,000 fans. We got all types of questions.
Yep, we're going out of the bus right now. It's going to be a little harder for me to hear you, but we're going out. We got to show the people what's up. Oh my gosh.
We got the Bills fans live.
Are you guys seeing this?
Oh yeah, no, Maniac. That's perfect. Keep it going. Wow.
Let's go, Buffalo! Let's go, Buffalo!
Dr. Great Scott, you said 5,000 fans? I think there might be 5,000 fans there. Wow, what a great shot by Maniac. This is great.
All right, it looks like something not good is about to happen to that Sammy Watkins Clemson jersey. That's what my inside sources are reporting.
How many tables are broken, Maniac? How many tables?
I've seen about 5 to 8 so far broken already, for sure. And let's face it, we're still about 4 hours from game time, so that is pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Oh no, guys, Sammy Watkins and Clemson fans better look away.
Oh no,
guys, we better look away because when I turn this around, you are not gonna believe what is about to happen.
Let's see it, Maniac.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Somebody get the tables.
All right, we're going to step away for a second here while Matt's getting ready. There's something that's about to happen, which we don't want to go away for. But as far as getting a prediction in, I think the Bills, because I'll get that in, and then we'll go to the craziness before I let you guys, get you guys out of my hair, so to speak. I think the Bills kind of put a chokehold on Pat Mahomes. I think the turf toe plays a role. I think Jerry Hughes, Mario Edison, they keep him in the pocket. Yeah, Kelsey's going to get his. Yeah, Hill's going to get his. But can you keep him on their side of the field? Can you keep him off the field? Can you get him off the field on third down? Plain and simple. Because this is a team that has a lot of confidence. They'll go for it on 4th and 5 at midfield in the middle of the second quarter. They don't care. They believe in their ability to move the ball. With that said, I think the Bills put a chokehold on them. 27-23.
Another under.
Under. Back to back.
Oh, here we go, folks.
Is that a burning lucky? Oh. 55 off the
Kyle,
truck.
dude? No, that's not Kyle.
Are you kidding me?
That was Jerry Hughes off the truck onto the Watkins jersey.
I just went to a table. Let's go, Bills.
That's Kyle Hughes. That's 47-foot Kyle right there. Man, what a scene. Oh, Maniac, not going to hold you too much longer here. Thanks for
I don't know if I can sign off any better than that, gents.
Man, Maniac.
Let's go, Bills.
Beard looks great. Hair looks better. Man, Maniac. That's incredible. That's quite the scene in Kansas City right there, as we are just under 3 hours or closer to 4 hours away from kickoff. Kevin, the last thing we have to do here, our prediction.
That though.
I don't know how do we end the show now? Like our predictions are
we got to get our predictions in, but I don't know. I don't know even how I follow the flaming Sammy Watkins jersey from the truck from Kyle onto the table.
From 47-foot Kyle. That's crazy. That's a 47-foot Sunday right there.
That was an unscripted. I don't have anything written down for this. That was unscripted. Totally hope we can see that footage later on from the show. We'll have this live on YouTube for anyone that wants to go back and watch Maniacs live footage from KC. The reports there, good weather, overcast, no rain. We're looking at 5,000 to 8,000 fans as a guesstimate right now. I think they can have up to 20,000. I don't know what their numbers are that they can have there.
I don't either, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But according to Maniac, it looks like we're having 5 to 8, maybe a third of their allowable fans. So that's key. Go back and watch that YouTube to see a live video of someone jumping off of a truck onto a table and a burning Sammy Watkins jersey. Is that
burning Sammy Watkins jersey? Burning
Sammy Watkins jersey there live in Kansas City. Thanks, Maniac. And we'll obviously have some more videos, footage, and stuff coming up on Trainwreck Sports shortly. But we got to get in our score predictions for today. We're going to start with you want to start today,
yeah, I'll start it off. I'll do that. I've been saying, like I said, when I had my shower and I thought about putting in a $200 money line bet for the Bills, I do feel good. I feel confident, but not too confident. These are the defending Kansas City Chiefs. You know, they're good. They're very good at football. Mahomes is easily the best player in the NFL right now when healthy. And that's what really, really puts this in wumbo here. If Mahomes was fully healthy, I can't even lie to you guys, I would probably pick the Chiefs to win by 3 or 4. But, you know, the Bills are the hotter team. They have a lot going in their favor right now. And I feel good about saying that they are going to win this game still by 1 score. But I feel good about saying that they're going to win this game 38-31. It's going to be a high-scoring one. The weather, I checked it on my weather app. Maniac says there shouldn't be any rain. Weather app from Apple says there's going to be no rain either. So thank you, Tim Cook, for verifying that for us. I feel confident in a Bills win, and I relatively confident for them being an underdog. I'm going 38-31. Kevin.
Man, 17-1 picking Bills games this year. My streak's on the line. Only loss I have.
Maybe the only one better than you this year.
Yep.
Like, no joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is one game I missed. It was picking the Seahawks to beat the Bills. I will not make that mistake today. I would be perfect if I picked a Bills over Seahawks victory earlier this season.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one to swallow that I went with the better quarterback abilities against our defense, because at the time the Bills defense was struggling, whatever. Lots we could talk about that. But this game, I have the under. I got spoiled earlier in this game. Yep, I do. It's still at 54.5? Is that where it's still sitting?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I have 30-24, score that I have been over for a while now. That is a Bills victory. I have them backdooring into that 24 to try to get closer to covering the over. So 30-24 is a score that I've been feeling really, really good about. I think the kicking game will be there. Tyler Bass will need to hit some field goals in this game.
And he can do it.
And I am going to say right now, I have 3 touchdowns, 3 field goals to get to 30 points. I have 1 field goal from Harrison Butker, but I have a big Butker missed field goal in this game that could change the way that these things go. Bills go down, kick a field goal to make it 30. That's how I have it. And I think I'm feeling good about the Patrick Mahomes turf toe injury. From everything I've read about turf toe, you need surgery. It doesn't feel good. Even minor surgery, you need to sit on that. From a former soccer player, you can't cut. You don't have the agility. Does he have the upper body strength and the ability to make throws? 100% does.
No question.
Can he get out of the pocket and cause problems? Or is he going to stand in there to a similar game plan? We'll see. I mean, if he's showing that turf toe is not bothering him at all, okay. But I'm going to believe that it is 30-24 Buffalo going to the Super Bowl and potentially getting redemption on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady in this specific game. I think the Bucs get it done. I have that pick locked in as well. So I don't know where you were at to kind of wrap up the show, but I have the Bucs, Bills, Super Bowl. The Bills are going out to get demons today. And Tom Brady, no better demon than to have to go through Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski at home in Tampa Bay, where there'll be more Bills fans than Bucs fans.
Yeah, everybody knows the White Claws have been flowing. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Kurt or Circle the Wagon. Someone made me throw one back there and down another one real quick. So I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I really got to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to get this in quick. I also love the Bills and Bucs to match up in the Super Bowl. I've been saying it all year. If this was the year to make it, we didn't have the opportunity to beat Brady. The first time we beat the Patriots, it was so anticlimactic. Yep. Justin Zimmer, amazing play. I will never knock it. I love that that's how we won, showing that next man up mentality. Everybody's able to make the play, but it would just be the perfect storybook ending to the Bills' first Super Bowl possible winning season to take down Tom Brady in the process. And I love the way our offense matches up against them. I would much rather go up against the Bucs than the Packers. They're 2 very good teams, also a spread of 3.5 there. So, this is, and Nate Geary tweeted out earlier this week, this is the best group of 4 quarterbacks that we've had in the conference championship weekend since the year 2000. The best out of all the 20 years of it. So, I'm
and go Bills, Judy, by the way. Judy's got a go Bills in there, so we wanted to shout out to Judy. Thanks for tuning in.
Judy Lynn 1-4. Thank you. We do believe. Go Bills. Kevin, any words of wisdom for Bills Mafia before we get out of here?
Last word of wisdom, the week 6 game plan worked. You need to tackle, like Greg said on this show today, hold them to 5 to 7 yards running on those plays, not 10-plus yards. That's the key to this game. McDermott's going to say, Clyde Edwards-Helaire's banged up. They're going to force Mahomes in the pocket to throw the ball quickly. That's the keys of this game, and that's how they get it done. They're going to bracket coverage, Travis Kelce all game. And could you see a Trey White on Travis Kelce matchup and take their chances on Hill? I think you see it today. I think you do anything you can to stop Kelce, keep Mahomes in the pocket, and make a hurt Edwards-Helaire run the ball. Will we even see a ton of Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I don't even think so. I think you'll see him on a limited snap count. I think you'll see a lot of Derry Williams today. So that is something to watch out for. That is the keys of this game. Contain Patrick Mahomes. Use the same game plan. He's banged up. Clyde Edwards-Helaire's banged up. That's how the Bills get this victory today.
Yep, same thing as last week against the Ravens, to be completely honest. Trey White was on Mark Andrews, and he had some really nice pass breakups on him. Matt Milano, a lot of great plays on Andrews, too.
12-0 with Matt Milano.
11-0 with Matt Milano. And if he did that to Mark Andrews, credit to Travis Kelce, but Mark Andrews is also a top 4 tight end in the NFL, so I feel good about our chances. Kevin, we'll be talking throughout the day. We'll talk during the game, I'm sure. But, to everybody out there, go Bills. We've earned this. And no matter the result, just enjoy tonight. The future is bright for this franchise. And if this isn't our year for the Super Bowl, I know that we're going to have a few in the coming years. So go Bills. Thank you, Judy, for that last comment. I'm going to get emotional. Good night now.